This section is all about acting skills, or more accurately, COD acting skills. I mean, who am I to talk about acting? I've just picked everything up over the years as I've gone along, using those two eyes of imagination and imitation, basically, just by copying other people and just by imagining myself as that wizard, that soldier, that god, or Santa, or whatever. And I've sort of got away with it, and people seem to like it. So that's fine, isn't it? They pay me a lot of money and they book me again, so I must be doing something right. So, you don't have to go to the Bristol Old Vic for 5 years or whatever, or do any acting courses. You can if you want, but honestly, for most voiceover work, you don't have to do that. Particularly when an awful lot of character work you do in video games are stereotypes. So it's not as if you're going to appear on stage in the West End tonight. I mean, on stage would be terrible, because obviously it's the visual aspect and all that kind of stuff as well. It's just the voice. Oh, I was about to say just the voice. Please wash your mouth out with soap. It is our voices, dear. Is what people are buying here, and not the overall look. Which, yes, okay, it does make it slightly easier. And you can edit it afterwards as well. Again, you can't do that on a live stage. And I really take my hat off, if I had one, to the actors who walk the boards every night and have to remember all that stuff. Flipping heck. Us voice actors, we just read it off a screen or off a piece of paper. We're lucky, aren't we? So what are the tips I can give you to do acting work? Well, first of all, you need to get into the soul of the character. Not just the name, but everything about them. Look up their backstory. That's why when you get to do game work, you get not just a picture of the person as they appear in the game, but also like 2 PDFs worth of backstory about them. How they grew up and who their best friends were and what their hobbies are and all that. So you can just quickly go through that, and then suddenly you have to get into their character fast and understand where they're coming from and what their motives are. Motive is very, very important in acting. As a proper actor would tell you, actually, motive is so important. Why is that person saying that at that time? So, yeah, get into the character, try and understand who they are. Physically get into their voice for voice age, whether it's old, young, middle age, or whatever, whether they're from a different country, different dialect, the usual voice stuff there. But then, when you've got the script, quite often, unless you're a right nutter, people talk off the cuff. They don't go around with a script or what they're going to say. Hello, darling, is tea ready yet? They don't, do they? Because it sounds red. So you say, hello, darling, is tea ready yet? So it's more natural. I know this is obvious. Am I patronizing you now? So basically, when you've got the words on the screen, you've got to make it sound as if it's coming straight ad-libbed. And the way you do this is by adding imperfections to it. Now, all the time in other chapters, I've been going on about how everything's got to be perfect and you've got to look at every little nuance and get rid of your spikes and all this kind of stuff. And here I am saying, add some imperfections, because in real life, everyone doesn't speak perfectly. They quite often put gaps in different places. They breathe in weird ways. They quite often talk without looking at the person. So that's what you've got to do when you're acting. And it sounds really strange. So, for example, you kind of look away and get off mic for a little bit and come back again. Or you think about something and then start speaking again. And you see those different noises I made there? That weird kind of breathing? Well, that's what people do. Just listen to in the bar tonight, in a restaurant, with your own family, around the dinner table. Just listen to how people speak naturally. You can listen to radio dramas if you want. In the UK, we have one called The Archers, which is on BBC Radio 4. And we joke in our family that the acting, they're professional actors, but they tend to breathe a lot. It's just a family joke we have. And so quite often you get someone who is pretending to be carrying a bale of hay or something. Oh, this bale of hay is really heavy there, That's what they do in the country, and I'm sure that's quite natural. But there seems to be a lot of breathing on The Archers. But no, listen to breathing and use that. It's basically adding these imperfections that you would never have in a normal voiceover, where everything has to be normally, clinically perfect every consonant and vowel is pronounced correctly, the ends of words are there. You cut out the breaths, for goodness sake, which is very unnatural. But here, you're adding the naturality back into it again. So add imperfections to make it sound more natural. The other thing with acting is that not only do you read it with imperfections, you kind of add things in as well quite often. And I do this a lot with my character work. I have various character voices, like a sort of mad professor type person. Ooh, I say, look at that over there. You know, that sort of voice. Where you're putting in, wasn't on the script, yet I put it in. And quite often the client likes that. Or, ooh, wow, all those sort of things. You can just add in there if it's what your character would say. And so in a natural sense, if you're just playing the average Joe talking to his mate at a bar, he says, wow, look at that girl over there. Do you like her, eh? You know? And so you do the actions and everything like that. You do the face as well. And also physicality is so important as well. If you're like pretending to be in a really hot jungle and you're sweating, then put extra clothes on. Actually sweat, you know? If you're meant to be an old man bent over, then flipping bend over like that. Oh, I just wish my back was better. You know, it really helps to get that physicality in there. Or if you've got some pain anywhere, then pinch that area, give yourself some pain, feel what it's like to feel that pain. Okay, so my final tip about acting skills, and I do apologize if you are a proper actor and you've done RADA or Bristol Old Vic School and you've walked the boards and you think, who's this guy talking about acting skills? But I'm just telling you about my own experience, of my own self-taught experiences. My final thing is to not over-rehearse something, right? Not over-rehearse, you're saying as an actor. But really, as a voice actor, for me anyway, it doesn't work that well. It works fantastically well if, for example, I get the backstory, I look at what the character looks like, I look for physical attributes, and only at the last minute, when I've got all that information, do I click the script on the screen. I've no idea what that character's going to say. I've no idea whatsoever. Up it comes on the screen, I record it straight away. Now, 50% of the time is rubbish, to be honest, and yes, I do have to do it again, but sometimes, you know, sometimes it's magic. That first time, it sounds so flipping natural. And you'll find the more times you do it, those imperfections sound scripted, you know? Oh, I put an in there before, I better do that this time, and all that. And you start to think about your breathing and you get all screwed up. And it doesn't sound right. It sounds just unnatural in the end. So try that. Just try putting the script up and recording it at the same time. So you're sight reading it. So those imperfections where you stumble over words are real because you really did stumble over your words. Anyway, so hopefully there are some useful tips there if you've got a background of doing just narrations and commercials or whatever, and you've been asked to, say, audition to play some characters in a video game. Good luck.